You often hear that staying active is key to staying healthy as you age. But the truth is, sometimes slowing down is the real secret to a happy old age. In a world that's always busy, many older adults feel exhausted trying to keep up with the fast pace of life. However, if you know when to pause, you'll discover peace and joy in the simple things. In this video, I'll share 3 gentle yet powerful practices. Mindful rest to recharge your energy, slowing down to savor joy more deeply, and cultivating gratitude to improve both mental health and relationships. You'll hear inspiring stories like David's, a marathon runner who found happiness in peaceful mornings, or Linda's, who learned to appreciate the small moments of the day. Just by making small changes each day, like taking a minute to write down something you're grateful for, you'll notice a big difference. If you're looking for a way to live joyfully, healthily, and more deeply after 70, this video is for you. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next video. If you like this topic, comment with a 1. If not, leave a 0 so I can improve the content for you. Thank you for being part of the journey. Now, let's get started. The first thing I want to invite you to explore today is the art of mindful rest. A concept that may seem simple, but can bring about profound transformation in life, especially as we enter our 70s. We are often taught that the more we move, the healthier we are. But what if the key to living longer and healthier is actually knowing how to rest properly? I remember a conversation not long ago with Mr. Thomas, a 76-year-old man who lives in a senior community in Oregon. Thomas used to be passionate about physical activities. He ran every morning, attended yoga classes at noon, and played golf with friends in the afternoon. His days were filled with movement, and he prided himself on always being busy. But you know what? During a community meeting, he shared something that really surprised me. I've spent my whole life thinking that constant motion was the key to good health. But now, I see clearly that rest, done right and mindfully, is what I've been missing all these years. The reason he realized this wasn't easy. One time, after engaging in too many physical activities during the week, Thomas began to feel persistent fatigue, joint pain, insomnia, and a sense of mental sluggishness. A visit to the doctor revealed that his blood pressure had risen and his body was in a state of overload. The doctor advised him to slow down, reduce the intensity of his activities, and learn to listen to his body. At that moment, he felt disappointed, as though he was failing at his own life philosophy. But it was during this slow-down phase that Thomas began to discover what he called the wisdom of stillness. He started spending mornings not running, but sitting on a wooden chair on the porch, enjoying a hot cup of tea, watching the sunlight filter through the trees, and simply breathing. He no longer felt the need to do something to feel valuable. Instead, he experienced a deep presence in every moment. It wasn't just Thomas who realized this. Dr. Amanda Lee, an aging researcher at Stanford University, conducted a 10-year study with over 1,200 people aged 65 and older and found that those who regularly practiced intentional rest, meaning allowing themselves to stop mindfully and not be swept away by the fast pace of life, had better heart health, higher quality sleep, and less anxiety or depression. They even reported that their relationships became stronger and deeper because they had the energy to listen, share, and connect. Now, Thomas hasn't given up on physical activity. He still plays golf, goes for light walks, and occasionally attends yoga classes. But he does everything with mindfulness. He schedules strategic pauses, as he calls them, to allow his body time to recover. For example, after cooking breakfast, he sits in silence for 10 minutes to relax before starting the next activity. Before bed, he practices deep breathing in silence, helping his mind to relax. These small habits have created a big change. His sleep is deeper, His health indicators have stabilized, and most importantly, his spirit feels lighter and more peaceful than ever. I want you to try something right now. It's simple. Close your eyes if you feel safe. Take a deep breath and feel the air go in and out of your body. Do nothing, just breathe. In that moment, you're practicing a form of mindful rest. You don't need to withdraw from the world. You don't need to completely change your life. Just a few minutes of silence, a few moments of pause every day, and you can begin to feel the difference. Rest doesn't mean laziness. It's the proactive creation of space for your body and mind to recover. As Thomas said, "I haven't given up on an active life. I'm just living it more wisely." If you feel like your life has become too fast, too exhausting, allow yourself to stop. Not to fall behind, but to continue forward with more energy and joy. Silence, if embraced correctly, can be the gentlest teacher in the golden years of life. And I hope you too will find the miracle in those pauses. The second thing, simple joy, deep satisfaction. I want to tell you about a woman named Margaret, 74 years old, living in Portland. She's not a famous person, nor a major influencer in society, but the conversation I had with her made me see life from a completely new perspective. Margaret was once a financial expert, accustomed to a fast pace, long meetings, tight schedules, and high expectations. After retiring, she still carried that habit with her, not allowing herself to rest, not believing she could find joy in stillness. Until one day everything changed because of an old wooden chair placed on her porch. One fall morning, Margaret sat down in that chair to rest after watering the plants. Before that, she always did everything quickly. Watering the plants, cleaning, planning dinner. Everything had a schedule. But that day, she sat down for no particular reason. And in that quiet moment, she realized something she had been unconsciously overlooking. The sound of birds chirping in the distance, the feel of a gentle breeze brushing her cheek, and the smell of freshly cut grass lingering in the air. I used to think I had to do a lot to feel alive. Turns out, sometimes just sitting still is enough to feel complete. Margaret shared with a kind smile. From then on, she began practicing what she called enjoying the small things, not cutting everything out of her life, but slowing down enough to appreciate things more deeply. She started planting a few more flower beds, writing down the things that made her smile each day, and every afternoon she spent a few minutes sitting with her cat, doing nothing, just being present. These small changes made her life transform, no longer under pressure to prove anything, but learning to recognize that every moment is precious enough on its own. A recent study by the Institute for Prosperous Aging found that older adults who make it a habit to pay attention to small joys every day report a significantly higher life satisfaction. This doesn't mean we should give up on ambition or stop striving. Rather, it's about learning to live fully in each step, instead of only focusing on the finish line. Margaret no longer pursues big achievements, but she feels like she's living more each day. She shared that before, despite achieving so much, she always felt empty. But now, just a hot cup of tea, a sunny morning, or a hug from her grandchild, that's enough to make her feel truly happy. I asked her how someone living too fast could start changing. She simply smiled and said, "Start by paying attention. Find something small that makes you happy, anything, and pause long enough to really feel it. It could be the warm sunlight filtering through the curtains, the crisp sound of freshly baked bread, or simply holding hands with your partner in silence. These seemingly trivial things, they're the golden threads that weave happiness into our lives." A neuroscientist named Dr. Emily Hart at UCLA once said that when we consciously pay attention to and appreciate simple moments, our brains release more serotonin and dopamine, two neurotransmitters closely associated with positive emotions. That means small joys not only make us feel good, they actually help us live healthier, both mentally and physically. Try something small right now. Stop, look around you, and pick out one thing that brings you comfort. It could be the soft light, the aroma from the kitchen, or the gentle music playing somewhere. Don't just glance over it. Allow yourself to truly feel it. In that moment, you're not just enjoying the present, you're healing. Margaret no longer seeks bright, extraordinary days. She treasures every ordinary one. She recently shared that what moved her the most was the moment when a sparrow landed on the railing every morning, something she had never noticed before. I used to think happiness was a distant destination. Now I know it's always been right here. I just wasn't paying attention. And I believe within each of us there's a part of Margaret, just waiting to be awakened by those small yet meaningful things. Life doesn't need to be extraordinary every day to be wonderful. Sometimes the simplest things are what make our hearts resonate the most. And when we learn to slow down, pay more attention, we'll realize that happiness has never been far. It's always here, in every moment we're living. The last thing I want to share with you is about gratitude. A simple topic, but one that can change everyone's life. Let me tell you about a charming little cafe in Boston, where I met Richard, an 84-year-old man who completely changed my perspective on living with gratitude. Every morning at exactly 7 a.m., Richard sits in his usual spot, holding a cup of hot coffee and a small notebook beside him. One day, I sat down near him and he pushed the notebook toward me, gently asking, "Would you like to know what makes life richer?" I was curious and opened the notebook, looking at the simple yet meaningful notes. "The coffee today is wonderful," Sarah called. Hearing her voice warmed my heart. "This morning, I watched the sun rise and felt so lucky to be alive for another day." These notes weren't about big goals, but rather about appreciating the small things in daily life, the things most of us often overlook. Richard explained that when we're young, we tend to chase big milestones in life, seeking major achievements. But at his age, he realized that the real treasure isn't about what we can achieve in the future, but about appreciating what we have in the present. And this is not just a reminder, but a way of life, a habit that helps us see life in a different, more powerful way. Recent scientific studies also show that people who regularly practice gratitude not only feel happier, but also have better health, from a stronger immune system to better sleep. A key part of Richard's routine is his morning ritual. He starts his day with 3 slow sips of coffee, each sip giving him time to think about one thing he's grateful for in life. It might be a small gesture from a friend, a peaceful moment on a beautiful morning, or simply the happiness of waking up to live another day. When I watched him do this, I realized that this simple act has incredible power. I also want to share another habit that Richard taught me, his evening gratitude ritual. Before going to bed, he spends a few minutes thinking about 3 small things from the day that brought him joy or that he's grateful for. It could be the warm light streaming through the window, a brief yet meaningful conversation with a friend, or a word of encouragement from a colleague. Take a moment to acknowledge these small things before drifting off to sleep. It's a simple habit, but it can help you feel happier and more at peace in your soul. Richard also shared something very profound with me. He calls it connection through gratitude. Every time he talks to his grandchildren, he always finds a specific thing to express his appreciation for about them. Not just general words like, "I love you," but specific phrases like, "I love how you always remember to call me on the weekends," or "Your laughter reminds me of when you were little." These words of thanks not only deepen their relationship, but also make the conversations so much more special. This truly moved me. If you're watching this video and want to apply these lessons to your life, try taking a moment to think about someone who has brought something positive to your day. Maybe it's the delivery person who always greets you with a smile, or the neighbor who waves at you as you walk by. Don't forget to feel gratitude for their presence in your life. The wonderful thing about gratitude is that it can grow and spread. Richard told me that since he began practicing his morning ritual, he has started to notice more and more things to be grateful for, not because the world has changed, but because he's learned to see the beauty in the ordinary. He said, when you start looking for it, you'll find treasure everywhere. And then the cafe community began to notice the positive change in Richard. Other regulars started asking him about his notebook, and now there's a small group that meets weekly to share moments of gratitude in life. They call themselves the Grateful Hearts Club. Richard laughs and says, "It may sound cheesy, but it really works. Even when life gets tough, Richard still believes there are always small things to be grateful for. And if you open your heart, you'll notice these wonderful things more and more. This has changed my life, and I hope it will help you change your perspective on your own life." Take a moment to reflect on today. Is there something small yet special that you could write down in your gratitude journal? It doesn't have to be a big event, just a small but sincere feeling. Maybe it's the warm sunlight streaming through the window in the morning, or an interesting book that captivated you during your lunch break. Maybe it's a cheerful conversation with a close friend, or simply the scent of coffee every morning. These moments may not be grand, but when you stop to recognize them, they can bring joy and gratitude to your heart. If you start practicing this every day, you'll be amazed at how your life becomes richer and more meaningful. Gratitude not only changes the way you see the world, but it also helps you connect more deeply with yourself and with others around you. When you learn to appreciate the small things, life no longer feels like a rush of days, but a journey full of memorable moments. So, as we wrap up this conversation, I want you to take a moment to reflect on what you felt. How can a simple act, like acknowledging gratitude, change the way you view life? What small habits can you start incorporating into your life to nurture gratitude every day? I'd love to hear from you. Is there something you learned today that you want to apply right away in your life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and together we will create a community full of gratitude, where every moment is worth appreciating. If you found this video valuable and want to continue joining me in meaningful conversations like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I look forward to hearing your story about how gratitude has helped you change your life. Thank you for always being with me and this community.